Welcome to the Simple Sophisticate podcast, where intelligent living is paired with signature style. I'm your host, Shannon Ables. And whether you're listening on your commute, exercising, working in the garden, or sitting down with a hot cup of tea or a cafe au lait, thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Welcome to the 178th episode of the Simple Sophisticate. How is your October going? I hope it is going lovely. Here in Bend, we have the trees just beginning to turn colors. We've had the beautiful, warm, crisp days that while you can definitely bathe in the sunshine with your face to the sky, you also do that wearing a lightly wool-made coat, and I love those days. Anyway, I hope yours is going well. Today's episode, we are going to talk about how to navigate your unique journey, because each of us is on our own path. We may derive inspiration from others. We may model various details, snippets from other people's lives that we want to bring into our own. But when we look at all the parts, it all comes together to create our own unique journey and life. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. But before I get into how to do that successfully, a little glimpse of what today's Petite plaisir is. It is a destination online that I was just introduced to by way of one of my favorite Francophile authors, and I can't believe I hadn't found this blog before. It's been around for longer than the Simply Luxurious Life has been around, and I think if you haven't found it already, you're going to want to put it on your daily reading list. I know I have, and I am enjoying it thoroughly. So stay tuned to find out what that place is at the end of today's episode. But let's get into today's topic. Your unique journey. I'm going to share with you today 6 ways on how to navigate it successfully. And the quote that inspired today's episode was a quote I found in Brene Brown's Braving the Wilderness book, which I talked about 2 weeks ago. And the quote is from Joseph Campbell, and it states, "If you can see your path laid out in front of you step by step, you know it's not your path. Your own path you make with every step you take. That's why it's your path." Have you ever thought or uttered this statement or something similar to it? If only there were someone's journey I could follow, model my life after, then I would be more at ease. At ease with knowing which step to take, when, why I was taking it, was something that I have used to long for, but never could find. And so when I came across this quote, I started to shake my head in agreement. It's like, oh, okay, that's why. While a roadmap of where to go would be handy, a Google map for life, so to speak, I have come to realize that I am thankful I do not have one. Why? Well, it isn't because I enjoy adrenaline rushes or the unknown necessarily. Rather, it's an understanding I have come to realize that Joseph Campbell explains eloquently in the quote I just shared. Each of our journeys is meant to be unique, and while it may be oh so tempting to follow in step those who inspire us, to do so would be to eliminate what can only uniquely come forth from each of us. Don't get me wrong. It can be terrifying to understand such a truth. And to be honest, I know some will say, not for me, I'm going to do what I know and what those before me have done. But I also know many of you, like me, are willing to listen to our internal compass, and even if we can't make sense of it, find the courage to step out onto our own trail and forge the path, even if we're not quite sure where we will end up or when we will end up where we hope it will lead. So today I'd like to share with you 6 tips for preparing for your successful journey that will be uniquely your own. And by preparing, it's something that you're doing regularly while you're on the journey. It's not something you just do beforehand. It's as you're striving forward. So it continues to be a place that is, yes, definitely the path you're supposed to be on, and that you're definitely going to be able to reach the destination you seek, even though you may not know what it exactly is. So number 1, take the time to get to know the navigator. That would be you. One of the first 3-part series that I wrote for the blog, The Simply Luxurious Life, back in 2010 was a list of benefits of getting to know yourself and how to do it. And I'll provide a link to that series on today's show notes. Ultimately, when you become accustomed to your own unique language, what your true temperament is, what makes your energies soar or sag, what tickles your curiosity and what deflates your hopes and ignites your fears, as well as what you value versus what is simply nice, but unnecessary to live a most contented, fulfilling life, you become able to make decisions more readily without second-guessing yourself. You begin to recognize and trust your intuition, and you begin to advocate for the direction you know you should head with more confidence. So number 1 is simply take the time to get to know you, the navigator. 2, exercise the mind. The best way to be able to make connections with old and seemingly incompatible concepts is to continue to learn. Read up on history, read a biography, read about the new research findings on neuroscience or the best nutrition. Observe mind-provoking cartoons. Challenge yourself with a daily crossword puzzle. Absorb from time to time seemingly unnecessary information because who knows, it may just be the missing piece to solving a problem down the road or creating a new way of living well for you or those you love or the community that you call home. So number 2 is continually exercise the mind. 3, lighten up. I want to share with you a quote from William S. Burroughs. He states, "Your mind will answer most questions if you learn to relax and wait for the answer." Again and again, I am reminded of this quote and its truth when I am trying to locate a solution or think of a particular idea that is escaping me at that particular moment. It is the relaxing of the mind, giving it room to move and be free, which enables it to find what I have been searching for. Even better, when I give my mind a task to work through, sometimes unconsciously, upon getting a good night's sleep, I will wake up in the morning with a fresh mind and often a fresh new idea. So sleeping on it really does make a difference. So number 3 is lighten up. Now, before I share the next and final 3 ways to navigate your own unique journey successfully, I want to take a moment to share a word from this episode's sponsor. I love essential oils, but the prices are sometimes crazy. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Simply Earth. Ditch the chemicals, have fun, and save on your wallet with Simply Earth's Essential Oil Recipe Box. Each box comes with 6 recipes and everything you need to make them. There are 4 to 5 full-size essential oil bottles, 100% pure goodness, all for $39. Get this. This is what is exciting. Exclusively for Simple Sophisticate listeners. If you use the code SIMPLE, SIMPLE, that's it, you get a $40 gift card emailed to you after you subscribe to this fun essential oil recipe box. Visit simplyearth.com and use the code SIMPLE to receive a $40 gift card. Welcome back. The final 3 ways to navigate your unique journey successfully are coming up right now. Number 4, practice gratitude. I want to begin with a quote from Eckhart Tolle. He states, "Acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance." It initially seems counterintuitive. If you say you are grateful for what you have, why would the universe interpret that as a person who needs or deserves or should be given more? But the best receiver of any gift is someone who knows how to truly appreciate it. And we demonstrate this truth by how we treat and appreciate the many fortunate opportunities, comforts, necessities we already have. So number 4 is practice gratitude. 5, focus on welcoming ease. Here's a quote from Deepak Chopra. "Every time you are tempted to react in the same old way, Ask if you want to be a prisoner of the past or a pioneer of the future. A calm mind is a sound mind. If how you have been approaching life hasn't been working, circle back to what it is that is causing you to stumble. Perhaps it is a default response, whether your words, your tone, the thoughts you convey and their connotation, or your physical response, your facial expressions, your body language, your actions, or perhaps it is something so simple yet so powerful, such as your jump to negativity and or worry that hinders the forward positive progress that you seek. Choose to react differently, and you will eventually see different results, sometimes quicker than you expect. So, number 5 is focus on welcoming ease. Number 6, always be an iota out of your comfort zone. Let's start with a quote from John Maxwell. If you're growing, you're always going to be out of your comfort zone. Back in June, I shared a post titled 7 More Signs That You Are on the Right Track. And 2 of the signs were feeling challenged and feeling as though you were in limbo land and not sure of which way to go or if anything was going to work out as you had stepped out of what you knew and were attempting to arrive someplace else. Brene Brown also points out in her new book, Braving the Wilderness, that the most difficult part of the journey you need to be on is the one that is yours and yours alone. And that is when you are in the in-between from what you know and what you're striving toward. The in-between, where you've come from and where you're headed, that's where it's the most unsettling. And that's a good sign that you're heading in the right direction. And that is that stepping out of your comfort zone little bit by little bit that will eventually get you to the destination you desire to arrive at. So number 6 is always be just an iota out of your comfort zone. The truth is, the change you seek will require some courage, and stepping out of your comfort zone, if even only in slight increments, is the only way to grow to your fullest potential and seek the destination that is solely yours to inhabit. Choose to have the courage to arrive at this uniquely singular destination and enjoy the journey. I want to end today's episode with a quote by Joseph Campbell, as he started it off today as well. Here we go. If you do follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while, waiting for you, and the life that you ought to be living is the one you are living. Follow your bliss and don't be afraid, and doors will open where you didn't know they were going to be. For today's show notes, visit the blog, thesimplyluxuriouslife.com/podcast 178. I'll be right back with this week's Petite Plaisir. Welcome back. This week's Petite Plaisir is a blog for Francophiles, and it is simply called Paris Breakfasts. Now, the URL is parisbreakfasts, that's plural breakfasts, .blogspot.com. And how I learned about it was from one of my favorite authors who has a new book coming out in January. I'm so excited, Jamie Cat-Callan. She wrote Bonjour Happiness and a handful of other books that will feed your Francophile predilections. Anyway, I was following her on Instagram, and she is in Paris at the moment right now, on the day that I'm taping this. And her recommendation or introduction to Paris Breakfasts was something I was delighted to see. And it is a blog that's been around since 2006, and it is written by an illustrator. It has actually nothing to do directly with food, but rather the beauty and the art and the places to go and see in Paris. And it is all created by artist G Lowe. And she lives in Paris. And in fact, she lives in the Isle de France in Paris. What an amazing place to call home. And she sells her own illustrations and cards. If you're looking for a lovely French-inspired Francophile getaway virtually online, I really think you'll enjoy Paris Breakfast. It is delightful, and she throws her illustrations in there regularly. Her most recent post was when she went and took a tour at the Paris Opera, and so you have pictures from that tour as well as her illustration of the opera, which is lovely. So You can enjoy reading it on a regular basis. She posts quite frequently. And again, you can also order her illustrations in cards and in paintings that perhaps for your office, for your home, or maybe even a gift. I'll provide a link to the blog on today's show notes. It's parisbreakfasts.blogspot.com. I hope you've enjoyed this week's Petite Plaisir, where each week ideas are shared to make the everyday all the more enjoyable. Tune in at the end of each Monday's podcast where I'll recommend a book, a film, or a recipe, anything that is a simple pleasure to satiate your sophisticated taste. I want to take a moment to say thank you to a couple of individuals who took the time to leave a review on iTunes with regards to the Simple Sophisticate. And this first one is from Northern Francophile. They gave us 5 stars and wrote, "My all-time favorite podcast. It covers everything I could possibly want to hear, from relationships, goals, career, food, style, France. It has it all. From one Francophile to another, your podcast keeps my days interesting at work while I'm on my computer." Well, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to write the review. And yes, definitely hello, wherever you may be, to another Francophile from the one here in Bend, Oregon. And the next review I want to give a shout out to and a big thank you is to Crime Podcast Junkie. They gave us 5 stars as well and wrote, "I love everything about this podcast. It is mature, relevant, and always entertaining. Shannon does a great job of delivering information that is positive and uplifting, and I love her voice too." Well, you are very kind. You are very kind. Thank you for your time also. I want to thank everyone who has given us reviews recently. There's been a ton of them coming in, and I'm trying to make sure I give you the appreciation that I sincerely feel. And if you haven't heard your review yet, it is coming. I will get it on the air. And for anyone who hasn't left a review, if you enjoy this podcast, please share or give us a star for ranking. And it makes a big difference with regards to when people are searching for a podcast when it comes to lifestyle or Francophile inspiration or living well or living simply. They come across this podcast and they see not only the description, but also your guys' reviews, and it tells them what they will discover. And so the specific reviews do help immensely. So thank you for your time, and thank you for everyone for listening. I look forward to being back here next week with you on the Simple Sophisticate. Have a beautiful week. Thank you for tuning in to the Simple Sophisticate podcast, where intelligent living is paired with signature style. For more ideas and inspiration throughout the week, stop by the blog, thesimplyluxuriouslife.com, or pick up the book, now available on Audible, iTunes, and Amazon, as well as in paperback, Choosing the Simply Luxurious Life, A Modern Woman's Guide. To stay caught up on the most recent episodes of the podcast, blog posts, and to receive exclusive news as well as an extra dose of inspiration to start your weekend, subscribe to the Simply Luxurious Life's weekly newsletter, which arrives in your inbox each Friday morning to enjoy with a hot cup of tea or a hot cup of coffee. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Shannon Ables. À la prochaine.